Hi everyone, it's Heidi again. Today we are finally reacting to the South Park episode all about Mormons. A lot of you have recommended this to me. Hail Baby just went down for a nap. I'm hopeful that we have enough time. I just bought it for $2.99 on YouTube, even though I know you can go to a different website, but I don't remember what it is, and I just feel better about this one. I've watched a little bit of South Park, and honestly, I'm really impressed with how many different topics this show is about. I also came across just recently the cast of South Park. I was impressed that under cast and actors, it was two dudes. Wild. Just so cool. But anyway, if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Become a member if you want me to prioritize your comments or just support the channel. Ow! And let's do this. I remember seeing this little disclaimer the last time I watched, I was going to say Linkin Park, South Park, and I just think it's so funny. Coarse language and due to its content should not be viewed by anyone. Oh, that's great. I love these kind of shows. Anyway, thank you.
We have a new student joining us today who has just moved here from Utah. I want you all to say hi to Gary.
He's already looking super like nice and clean cut.
It's really great to meet you all. I'm really excited to live in this town and share all kinds of great experiences with you, my new friends.
Dude, what a little asshole. Yeah, screw that kid.
All right, Gary, why don't you take that empty seat and we'll get started with the lesson.
Mormons are so nice.
Hey, my name's Gary.
All right, I'm gonna go kick his ass. Yeah, go Stan, go Stan.
There definitely is a thing about Mormons are so happy. They're always smiling. And I love that they're like, ew, he's smiling. Why is he so happy? Get rid of that smile. That's so funny to me. There's a song, I actually have been thinking about this song in the last week or so that you learn in little primary at church when you're a little kid. And it's, if you chance to meet a frown, do not let it stay. Quickly turn it upside down and smile at that frown away. No one likes a frowny face. Change it for a smile. And then it goes, make the world a better place and by smiling all the while. Anyway, that we sang a lot. Obviously, we sang it a lot because I still have the whole thing memorized. And on one hand, I think it's cool. Like, yeah, try and be happy, but at the same time, I think it's also important to feel your feelings and be sad when appropriate. Otherwise, you're just holding things in. And I actually had I think I've mentioned this in another video, especially when I was on my mission. I had an issue where I would feel guilty if I didn't feel happy or grateful to be there because I was representing Jesus Christ and the church and everything. And so I felt like I was putting the church down or misrepresenting if I wasn't just happy all the time in front of people, at least. And that's not healthy. It's really not healthy. Anyway, kind of interesting.
It's really tough being in a totally new place, but I think all you guys are really cool, so I understand if there's initiation rites.
Dude, stop it.
Stop it. Stop being so
Shut up,
nice.
Butters.
The kids are watching.
Dude, stop it.
Look, do what you gotta do.
You can't hate him, you know?
Going over to his house for dinner tonight. What? How did that happen? He's
Yes.
a really nice kid. What kind of family has a kid like that?
Okay, my turn. Ooh, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Living.
5. Oh,
Hi!
So
I'm my
many
baby
kids.
sister Amanda.
well, it's great you could join us for family home evening, Stan.
What's that?
That's when we don't allow any TV and just entertain each other with music and stories.
They all play instruments. Of course they do.
Yeah, I love my family. My family is the best. If you ever have to face a challenge,
Baby.
our family...
Sorry. This is so funny because it is so true. Mormon families are very, very nice. Like when you meet those their family's been in the church for generations and that's all they've known their whole lives. And yes, you get this exactly. They all play instruments. I don't know why. In the church, I mean, you have a lot of opportunity to at least play the piano. Every song is accompanied by a piano. I don't know, for some reason, kids are just into musical instruments. The parents are very into that. And why? Why is that? Maybe it's just the culture. That's so spot on. I mean, being able to play a musical instrument is really cool. It's very beautiful. So nothing against that. But this is so funny. Man alive. And my family, we used to play Life fairly often. We would play Sorry a lot. That was a good time. Board games was the thing. And then family home evening. Every Monday evening. It's encouraged to have a family home evening where you spend time with your family, you do an activity, have a treat or something, and then you do like a little lesson, like teach your kids something about the gospel. I'm trying to remember, but I'm sure that leaders encourage people to invite outsiders, people from outside the church, to attend your family home evening so that they could feel the spirit in your home and with your family and stuff like that. So that is just so funny. So very true. I'm getting a kick out of this if you couldn't tell.
Now how about we do some scripture readings from the Book of Mormon? All right! Joseph Smith lived in a little American town in the early 1800s.
I'm going to try and not get triggered.
And suddenly, God and Jesus appeared before me.
You see? You believe it now?
I mean, that's what we learned.
Why would he make that up?
Dum 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 dum.
Why would it make that?
Believe Joseph. Dum 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 dum.
A Native American? But
I
your
mean, it's
skin is
white.
white.
Yes, long ago all Native Americans were white. We all came to America from Jerusalem.
I actually don't know if the belief was that all Native Americans were white, but that is kind of funny.
Also buried with the book are 2 seer stones, the Urim and Thummim, which will allow you to translate the writings.
It's
Find it
very
and fulfill
educational.
your destiny.
That's all true.
Rice
Rice Krispies. Yep. Oh
Hey,
yeah.
gang, let's wrap some more of them up in plastic wrap and hand them out to the poor.
Service is also a really, really big thing in the church, which is very cool. It's definitely very, very service oriented. So wrapping up treats and, giving them to the poor or to the neighbors or something is very, very, very common, I guess. Not common, but like it's not far off. Man, just the research that they put into this, like who did they talk to about this? Or did they know Mormons? I'm so curious. It's so funny.
Mr. Harrison is a white guy, right?
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna kick his ass.
He's gonna end up liking them. I 100% guarantee it. But I do think that there's a big difference between telling people what you believe and then being like, you need to follow the plan, or, you should go to church too, or whatever. Sure, tell me about your religious beliefs. Let me know what your thing is about, but don't try and push that on me or make me feel pressured to join you. If that makes sense. But that is definitely something that leaders of the Mormon church encourage all members to do is, every member a missionary was one of the slogans, I guess, that they used when I was still a member, that there are always opportunities to share the gospel with others, with your neighbors and stuff like that. And first of all, it makes Mormons feel very, very awkward about it. At least that's how I felt. It's not natural to do that. People have to really push themselves to share the gospel with your next door neighbor outside of like a church setting, or invite them like to church activities or to church or things like that where you never would have invited them before. And some people are like, no, I'm happy to invite people, I'm happy to share the gospel, but it's not normal, it's not natural, and you can feel it. I feel a little bit bad. I think it makes people's relationships with others a little bit strange sometimes when it could have just been chill. But anyway, we're gonna continue now.
You can call me Randy.
Randy, the last thing we want is for people to think we're pushing our religion. We know there are a lot of beliefs out there, and ours just works for us.
To each his own, right?
Yeah.
Some Mormons are like that. Some of them are all about, sharing the gospel with others, and then some of them are just like, no, I don't know. But you're supposed to share the gospel with others, so I don't know. It's a tough thing. Some Mormons are very, very chill, though. It's hard to know which ones are which. It's hard to know which Mormons want to be your friend just because they want to be your friend, and which Mormons want to be your friend in hopes that you will come back to church. A little bit tricky there.
I found them!
Found what?
Another New Testament of Jesus Christ.
I do think that they tried to keep it pretty secret. I think that he just shared it with people close to him, but then the word got out. I don't think he shouted in the streets, I found gold plates or whatever. What ended up happening is that the whole town found out about it.
Even though nobody else ever saw them. Dum 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 dum.
Oh, it's so funny. Oh, the song. That's awesome. It is interesting because I was talking to a family member the other day, maybe a week ago actually, and they were saying that there are records or whatever of Joseph Smith's wife, Emma. The plates were always under a cloth or something like that, and she writes down that she felt them and it felt like gold plates, and so that is one of the things that it strengthened their testimony that the plates actually did exist and that they were real, along with Emma saying, oh, Joseph Smith wasn't smart enough to translate the plates. He could barely read, which I'm just like, who knows? But it is interesting that Mormons base their beliefs and their testimony on these kind of records and people just saying things. It's very, very common instead of finding their own proof. Well, I mean, then there is, then there is like praying about it and feeling it in your heart. And that's supposed to be your proof and your evidence. I don't really buy into that anymore because I feel like human beings can make themselves feel almost anything if they try hard enough. But very, very, very interesting to talk to them about that. He comes home with a Book of
having their
Mormon.
family over for dinner tomorrow night.
See, that's what happened to me.
From now on, our family is Mormon.
That's funny.
I'm a lion.
Hey, just what the heck am I supposed to be?
My God. You gonna come with us to the fire station, Stan? No, I've got a lot to do.
Well, Gary, you want to just hang out with your friend Stan?
My God. That got me. Oh my gosh. That is so funny. I do think it's cool when family prioritizes each other, if that makes sense. I think that's really, really neat. Sometimes it can be a lot. I just had to breathe for a second. My God. That was so good. The timing on that. Anyway, okay.
Wow. And then he translated what was written on the plates into the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, but how?
I wonder if they're going to have the hat.
What's this
I'm
all
just
about,
curious.
Mr. Smith?
Also, I just noticed that, what's the Mormon kid's name? Sam? Oh God, sorry. He's blonde. There is definitely a big thing about like Mormons from Utah being blonde. And it's funny because, so I lived the first 9 years of my life, right, in California. And then my family moved to Utah. And it was crazy seeing how many people were blonde. And if people were not blonde, they had blonde highlights or they dyed their hair blonde. It was so different from where we came from. It was like a culture shock. So I just think that's funny. The like clean cut blonde people coming from Utah is pretty accurate too.
In America? Really? That sounds kind of...
Dum 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 dum.
It's true, and I'm going to translate the plates and publish it into a book for the whole world to read. Now, I know you have a lot of money, Mr. Harris, and I'm just going to need a little bit to pay for the publishing costs.
I don't know.
He
How do you
did borrow a
expect
lot
to
of money.
translate it?
That's true.
Ooh, I'm seeing the light. Oh, okay, write this down.
And that's how the Book of Mormon was written. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum.
Oh my God. Okay. There was so much to unpack there. Oh my God. I love the way they depicted him just looking into the hat. It just looked so ridiculous. It is interesting because general teachings in the church don't talk about the hat. At least they used to not. I don't know if it's mentioned more often now, but I actually didn't learn about the hat until I was in college. I went to a Mormon college, and so I was in some kind of class and they were talking about it. And I had no idea because all of the pictures, everything that they talk about is just kind of them sitting across a table and he's just reading them straight up. Probably because this would look a little bit dumb. The way that they're using the song with that is so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that wasn't the witness thing. I do believe that there was some point, and maybe they'll talk about it, where he had people actually look at the gold plates and like write their signature saying that they have seen the gold plates. So that was something else. But yes, he would have somebody write down what he was reading, and that's how it was written down for the Book of Mormon. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. This is very interesting. It's funny, but at the same time, it's like a little bit triggering. It's like bringing back all these memories, you know. I think that everybody who leaves the church deals with that. Something that I was thinking about, because I wonder if I'll get any of those comments that say they leave the church but they can't leave the church alone. That is a very, very common saying for members of the church to say about ex-Mormons who talk about their experience and talk about the church and challenge the church, right? And the way I see it is that we've been very affected by the church emotionally, like mentally, self-esteem wise. It's taken a lot of our time, and so it's, I think, fair to talk about it, and especially if we feel like somebody else might get hurt or wronged, I guess. At least in our opinion, it's worth it to talk about. It makes sense that people who are very invested in religion want to talk about it. They want to see it help other people. Same with people who are outside of religion. They want to talk about it in hopes that it will help somebody, I guess. But I just think it's kind of interesting. I just like sharing my story. I'm not trying to attack the church or anything like that. It's just interesting seeing sorry, Hail Baby just sat up with the blanket over her head. She's back down now. What was I saying? I'm not trying to attack the church. I just like talking about my experience. I think it's very interesting. And so here we are. Continuing. They
Wow,
bring
what a
Jello.
great house.
They bring Jello.
Marsh, it's so nice to meet you.
Sorry, I don't know what else she was holding, but Jello is a very, very Mormon thing, apparently. I didn't know for a long time, but especially green Jello. And then you put things in the Jello. It depends on the family, but yeah, that's so funny. Very, at least Utah Mormon. I don't know if it's outside of it, but the little details that they're putting in here is cracking me up.
Time.
How do you know he isn't just making stuff up and pretending he's translating off golden plates?
Lucy Harris, smart, 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 smart.
Smart, smart, smart,
Why
smart.
would he make it up?
Oh gosh.
And that's how it happened.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. The whole family's like, what? And then this guy. Yeah. Oh no. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Okay, so the dumb versus smart thing is actually reminding me of something that another family member told me about. I won't be specific again. This is a different family member, by the way. They said that one of my aunts left the church at one point. This was probably before I was even born. My family member was talking to a church leader, and the church leader said, "She's smart. She'll come back to the church." That's really stuck with me because now that I am no longer a member, I think, oh, that's what certain members of the church are saying about people who have left the church. I just feel like I would be infuriated if I heard that somebody was saying that about me. Oh, Heidi's smart. She'll come back to the church. So on one hand, I'm like, oh, this is really harsh. Like, people in the church aren't dumb. But at the same time, it's like, if they're going to be saying the same thing about other people, I don't know. But yeah, I think about that pretty often now. It's strange,
Yeah, it's great you have your own beliefs.
Yeah, right, for the nurses. Oh, stop it! That's another thing. Why do you have to be so freaking nice all the time? It isn't normal. You just weasel people into your way of thinking by acting like the happiest family in the world and being so nice to everyone that you just blindside dumb people like my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't mean to, but that is very, very interesting.
Stan.
That whole thing. Okay, dumb people, that's, you could say that. I don't know about that. But one of the things that the church and people in the church, especially like missionaries and things like that, really target, and I think that I've talked about this in one of my other videos, but I'm not sure which one, are people who are grieving, people who have had a hard life, people who are going through something really difficult, people who are depressed, people who feel like they're missing something in their lives. And the church comes along and fills that hole or that gap with a lot of hope and a lot of, oh, you'll be with your family forever and you can have peace through Christ and all of this stuff. And so people who feel the community, who feel like somebody cares about them, whether it's God or the people in the church, it can feel heaven sent. And so that's how I've seen it. People in the church who are so happy show people, oh, if you're in the church, you can be happy like me because you are feeling miserable. You need this. And I think that's very, very common. I know that was when I felt like my testimony grew, or I got closer to the church and my beliefs got stronger, was when I was feeling awful about myself as a teenager, or I was going through something hard with a friend, or somebody like my grandpa died or something like that. I would feel that the church would help me and it would make me feel like it was more and more true. Very interesting. And that is also one of the reasons why I would feel so guilty when I wasn't feeling happy, because I knew that people wouldn't be drawn to me and to the church as much if I was sad or not, or I didn't have a smile on my face at all times. That is one way that you're taught to help people convert to the church, was your own example and your own happiness. Instead of acknowledging if you are actually happy or not, you're told to be happy for others. Okay, continuing.
I don't care if Joseph Smith made it all up. Because what the church teaches now is loving your family, being nice, and helping people. All I ever did was try to be your friend, Stan. But you're so high and mighty you couldn't look past my religion and just be my friend back. You got a lot of growing up to do, buddy. Suck my balls.
Damn, that kid is cool.
Hell yeah.
Huh?
That's really funny. That was a funny ending. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it because I've heard people say, oh, I don't believe that any Mormons actually believe that Joseph Smith was a prophet and that the church is actually real. I think that they say that they do, or I'm trying to remember what they said, but I remember being like, no, I definitely believed it. I mean, I sacrificed a lot of my life for it, and I was not friends with certain people because of it, which is ironic because at the end of this, it was like, oh, you couldn't even see past my religion. And it is funny because and I don't know if this has changed by now, but when I was a young woman, when I was a teenager, there was this little pamphlet called For the Strength of Youth. And it said something like, only hang out with people of your same standards. Hi, everyone. So I'm editing right now, but I decided to actually look it up, and it was about dating, actually. It wasn't about just friends in general. It says, or it used to at least, I don't think it does anymore. It used to say, only date people of your same standards. I'm not exactly sure where I got that more broad interpretation. As you'll see in just a minute or so, I did get maybe a tiny bit of that from my mom, but I might have just taken that a little too far. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't want to spread misinformation. Thank you. Let's continue. And I should really look that up to see if it still says something like that, because I remember feeling weird and a little bit guilty, or maybe not guilty, but just nervous, because I was worried that they would lead me astray, and drag me away from the church or something. My mom would actually teach us to, instead of you being the only one in a group of non-believers or bad influence kids, I don't remember the wording that she would use, but she would say, be in a group of people with your same standards and bring one person in at a time without your standards, because you can influence them a lot easier than you trying to influence an entire group. Like, you're more likely the one to be influenced. And that stuck with me too. I thought that was very interesting. And I mean, in a way, she's right. Like, if you're going to hang out with a bunch of criminals or something like that, then most likely you'll become a criminal. But I mean, I don't know. I've never tried it. And I do think that she was mostly worried about me getting into drugs or drinking or stuff like that. It wasn't so much connected to, oh, are they Mormon or not? So maybe a lot of parents teach their kids in a similar way. But anyway, you're taught to be a good example, to be kind and nice and respectful to everybody. But as far as being an actual friend to somebody, I think that there is a little more caution with that. Rather than, oh, do you want to be friends with this person? Do you think that they are a good influence? The church, to me, it felt like the church was telling me who to be friends with, I guess. I don't know. That could have just been my experience. If anybody has a similar story to mine, let me know what your experience is. I do think that family values and being kind and serving others are some really valuable things that the church still teaches, but it also comes with a level of judgment or feeling validated in judging others and feeling like you're the right one and they're the wrong one, or they don't know and you know. That is a little bit, I still have a hard time with that. I like having the opinion that I don't really know what's out there. There might be a God, there most likely isn't, but I'm not going to say, oh, of course there's not one, you're dumb for thinking there is. I don't know. I could be the wrong one, but I just have learned that living my life like there is absolutely one is not worth it to me, because I just don't know. So I'm living my life the way that I think is best, not how someone else tells me to live. So anyway, wow, that was a good time. That was interesting. It was funny and also thought-provoking for me, at least. Let me know what your guys' experience is, especially if you're also an ex-Mormon, or if you are a Mormon. Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts too. But thank you so much for this recommendation. I'm so glad we were finally able to do this, and Hail Baby's still asleep. Hell yeah. Let me know what else I should be watching on this channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.